Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Let's begin our new syllabus Mathematics Book 2 and start with chapter number 1, which is direct and inverse proportion or variation. The reference of this topic is at number 21 of CIE syllabus. Today is our lesson number 2. In this lesson we will study direct proportion or direct variation. Direct proportion is a combination of two words, direct and proportion or variation. Let's first define proportion and variation. A proportion is simply a statement that two ratios are equal. It compares things or people. Proportion tells us how much smaller or bigger one quantity is than the other. If you take the actual measurements of your house and the measurements of your house on the map, these two measurements are in proportion. Variation is defined by any change in some quantity due to change in another. Variation simply means change. So two quantities are so related that if there is a change in one, the other also changes, then that is called variation. Types of variation: direct proportion or direct variation, indirect or inverse proportion or variation, and compound proportion or compound variation. So let's define direct proportion or direct variation. If two quantities x and y are so related that when x increases or decreases in a given ratio, y also increases or decreases in the same ratio, then we say that y is directly proportional to x, or y is said to vary as x, or y is directly proportional to x. So this statement in mathematical form is written as this: y is directly proportional to x. This sign is called the sign of proportionality. If you remove this sign from here, so it will be replaced with an equality sign, and then you have to multiply the variable on the right hand side by a constant. This k is called the constant of variation or constant of proportionality. This constant of variation or in the direct variation is a constant unchanged ratio of two variable quantities. That this ratio between the two quantities which are in direct proportion will remain same. That same ratio is called k. Let's take an example to explain k and this relation. One book costs rupees 10. Two books will cost rupees 20 and three books will cost rupees 30. Look at the number of books. So in this statement there are two quantities. One is the number of books and other is cost. Books and cost. Two quantities are related in such a way that if number of books increases, the cost also increases. And if you move upward, if number of books decreases, the cost also decreases. So this is the case of direct variation or direct proportion. Now how we say that in direct proportion y is equal to kx? Let's write the ratio between these two quantities, books and cost. If we represent number of books by a letter y and cost by x, then their ratio will be equal to, in the first case when number of books is 1, its cost is 10, then 1 over 10. In the second case, when 2 books, cost is 20. This ratio of books to cost is 2 by 20. And in third case it is 3 by 30 because there are 3 books and 30 is cost. Now if you look at these three ratios, don't you think that these three ratios are equal? This is already written in simplified form. When you will write this ratio in simplified form, 2 ones are 2 and 2 tens are 20. So this ratio will again be equal to 1 over 10. Similarly, this ratio 3 ones are 3, 3 tens are 30. So this is again 1 by 10. So in this problem, the ratio between books and cost is always constant, 1 by 10, 1 by 10, 1 by 10. So for this problem, when we take the ratio between books and cost, the value of k is 1 by 10. If you change this ratio, you take the ratio between cost and books, cost in the numerator and books in the denominator, then 10 will be in the numerator, 1 in the denominator, then k will be equal to 10 for that. So if we remove these two words, books and cost, because they x, y may be any quantity and x may be any other quantity. If you take the example of sandwiches and number of slices, if for one sandwich you need 2 slices, then for 2 sandwiches you will need 4 slices, and for 3 sandwiches you will need 6 slices, and in that case this constant will be 1 by 2. Number of sandwiches and number of slices will be 1 by 2 in each case. So for every problem, constant of proportionality will be same. For every problem it will have its own constant of proportionality. In this case it is 1 by 10, and if you will take cost over books, then it will be 10. So if you remove these words and you simply write y over x, that is the ratio between two quantities in the given problem, is equal to 1 by 10, and from here we can write y is equal to 1 over 10 k. Now this 1 over 10 is constant of proportionality. So this statement can be written in general form as 1 is equal to kx. So it means whenever there is a case of direct proportion, the statement can be written in mathematical or algebraic form as this: y is equal to kx. The statement on the right hand side equals to k times the statement on the letter on the left hand side equals to k times the letter on the right hand side. This one. This is the relation between the two quantities when they are in direct proportion. Now let us practice some statements. As we just have studied that the statement y is directly proportional to x can be written in mathematical form as y is equal to kx. The statement, the variable on the left hand side is equal to k times the variable on the right hand side. Now look at some statements and write these statements in algebraic form. X is directly proportional to y. How you will write this statement in mathematical form? Write on your notebooks, please. The statement P varies directly as Q can be written in mathematical form. Write this in mathematical form on your notebook. Similarly, this T varies as P. Write down a formula connecting P, P and K. It is same as this one. This is a formula connecting y, k and x. Here you are asked to write a formula connecting P, P and K when P varies directly as P. When there is not written the word directly, and it is simply stated as P varies as x, so it is understood that it is a direct variation. And write the statement when area of circle is directly proportional to the square of the radius. Now two quantities are area and square of the radius. So let's check whether you have written the correct statements or not. In the first case, when x is directly proportional to y, its algebraic form is x is equal to ky. And in the second case, when p varies directly as q, it is p is equal to k. And in third case, when t varies p, the formula connecting t, p and k is P is equal to Kp. And in the last case, when area of circle is directly proportional to the square of its radius, then its mathematical form is A is equal to Kr square. So this is the way how we can write the statement in mathematical form. The methods of solving questions of direct variation. There are different methods. Unity method, which you have studied in 5th, 6th and 7th. Proportion method you have studied in 7th class. Arrow method, which is a form of proportion method. And fourth one is algebraic method. This method is new for you and we will study this method in this book. In this method we express a statement of that direct variation in algebraic form as we have done in the previous slide, and use this form of expression to find unknown quantities. There are some steps involved in solving the problems of direct variation by using algebraic method. Step 1, we first write the statement in algebraic form, y is equal to kx, or the variables used in that particular problem. Then in second step we put the given values of the variables in this equation and we find the value of k. Then in third step we put the value of k in this equation and we get a relation connecting x and y only, because for k we have written a number, so there will be only two letters there. And in the last step we will put the given value of the variable in the equation obtained in step 3 and we will find the value of the other variable which we will be asked to find. So this is the way of doing the problem. This is exercise 1A and its question number 1 is 108 identical books have a mass of 30 kg. Find in part 1 the mass of 150 such books, and in second part the number of books that have a mass of 20 kg. Now first here from this statement we cannot see that whether this statement is of direct proportion or any other proportion. So we will have to identify first. 108 identical books have mass 30 kg. Then what will be the mass of 150 such books? If with the increase in number of books, mass will increase or decrease? Yes, because when number of books will be increased, the mass will also increase. So with the increase in one quantity, other also increases. Here there are two quantities. One is number of book and other one is mass. So we suppose number of books by one letter and mass by another letter to solve the question. If we suppose number of books by n, you can take this by as x or y and mass of book as 1 m, sorry. Then since mass is directly proportional to the number of books, then this statement in algebraic form can be written like this: m is equal to kn, and we will name this as equation number 1. Now in the question 108 and 30 are given. Using these values in this equation we will find the value of k. Put m is equal to 108, m is equal to 30. In this equation we will get 30 is equal to k into, put a bracket here, 108, and then to find the value of 8, 30 will be divided by 108 and this will give you 5 by 18. To find the mass of 150 books, we will put this value of k and 150. n is equal to 150 in this equation number 1. So m is equal to 5 by 18, which is the value of k, and 150 is the value of n. Solving this, we will get the answer, the value of m, which is 41 by 3 kg. Now for second part we will use the same equation. we will put m is equal to 20 because mass is given and we have represented mass with m, value of k, and we will find the value of n. Solving this, we get n is equal to 72. This is question number 1. Question number 2 is same as this one. Again there is a word problem and you are asked to solve. You will identify whether the problem is of direct variation or not, and you will write the problem in algebraic form and then you will solve in the same way. Next, question number 3 is, if x is directly proportional to y and x is equal to 4.5, then y is equal to 3, then find an equation connecting x and y. Is first part, second part and third part. We will first solve and find an equation connecting x and y. Because x is directly proportional, so writing this in algebraic form, we get x is equal to ky. Now we will put the values of x and y which are given in equation number 1 to find the value of k, which is 3 by 2. You can also write 1.5. The value of k is equal to 1.5. Put this value of k in equation number 1. You get x is equal to 3 by 2 y, which is an equation connecting x and y. There is no other letter except x and y. So this is the answer of part 1. Now to answer part 2, we will use this equation number 2. We will put y is equal to 6 because in part 2 you are given y is equal to 6 in equation number 2 to find the value of x. Similarly in part 3, there is part 3. We will put y is equal to, we will put x is equal to 12 and we will find the value of y in equation number 2. X is 12, 3 by 2, y is to be determined, so we will keep it as it is. Simplifying this, we get the value of y, which is 8. And question number 4 is same as question number 3. The only difference is that variables in question number 4 are changed. So we will write this statement in algebraic form when q is directly proportional to p, which is q is equal to kp. We will put the values of p and q which are given in this equation and we will find the value of k like this. We will put this value of k in equation number 1 to get the answer of part 1, which is q is equal to 17. Now for second part, we will put p is equal to 5 in equation number 2 to get the value of q. And for part 3, sorry, there is a mistake. Put q is equal to 42 in equation number 2 and get the value of p, which is 6. So this is question number 1, 3 and 4. You will solve question number 2 by yourself and some other questions as well. Question number 5, 6, 7, 8 and question number 2 is your homework. Our next lesson will be on Monday. I will upload next lesson on Monday and that lesson we will solve the rest of the questions. I'm Zahid. Subscribe my mathematics teacher Zahid Hussain YouTube channel. My WhatsApp number is this. You can send me your problems at this number, which I will answer, or you can email me to this address for suggestions and feedback. Mathematics is practice, 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 because practice makes knowledge perfect. May Allah bless you all. Allah Hafiz. Take care.